The next company up is our longtime company, Commerce Resources. Commerce was the first company that Zimtu created, and that was some years ago. We currently hold 6.2 million shares of Commerce and 5 million warrants at an exercise price of 35 cents. So almost in the money, Grove.
Almost in the money, Hodge, almost.
And so this is Chris Grove. He's the president of Commerce Resources, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that company.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to speak to you all today. And certainly from what Ron McDonald said and what Dave said as well, the world is transitioning from fossil fuels over to a green technology, the electric grid, the electrification of transportation. There's no question about that. Certainly, we would arguably not have Saudi Aramco public if that were not the case. And certainly their public statements of peak oil being at 2035 seems somewhat conservative. And I would suggest that inside the boardroom of Saudi Aramco, they're probably thinking 2024 or 2025 is actually peak oil. But at any rate, besides that macro, which is a hugely important macro, there's another macro that's going on right now, and that is essentially that everyone on planet Earth who is not Chinese is looking to reduce or eliminate their dependency on China as a supplier. And if anything, COVID-19 has underscored that, underlined that, exacerbated those feelings. And so, you know, from industry and from governments everywhere outside of China, this is a major trend. In terms of the commodities we're working on, this is also a major factor. As James Walker said so compellingly and profoundly about fluorspar, China historically has been the world's largest fluorspar exporter. China is now a fluorspar importer, and it is also an importer of rare earth elements. It's been an importer of rare earth elements on balance for about 2 years now, or at least 2 years as reported by the Chinese services that service that we subscribe to out of Beijing, called Buy Info, which is cheap as borscht. And so I highly recommend Buy Info for like $1,500 US per year per subscription. At any rate, these are two very significant macros. So China is a net importer of both rare earth elements and fluorspar. In terms of rare earth element prices, this change in the global dynamic has not been as significant as it has been in fluorspar. Fluorspar's prices have tripled in the last 3 to 4 years. And I can't find a more recent price chart, but I believe the trajectory is the same, that prices continue to rise. Now, having said that, for our ashram deposit, fluorspar is a byproduct, but because of the style of deposit that the ashram is, which is a carbonatite, think about it as a huge blob that goes from surface all the way down to the center of the earth. We have only scratched the surface on this deposit, and we have proven up a defined resource at this point of 249 million tons in total. Of course, I should break that down into measured, indicated, and inferred, and I'm happy to do that. It is, anyways, it's about 219 million tons in the inferred category, and the rest is in the indicated and measured category. At any rate, we've also added 10,000 meters of drilling to that deposit, so it will get a little bit larger as well. Now, having said that, 249 million tons in total at approximately 2% of rare earth elements. That 249 million tons is also has an average of 7% fluorspar. So that is a gargantuan fluorspar resource. We believe it is the second largest fluorspar resource on planet Earth defined at this point in time, second only to strangely, the world's largest rare earth element producer, which is Bayan-Obo in China, which is also the dominant rare earth element producer. So one of the things that is Commerce's goal, and it has been our goal all the way along, is to be competitive with China on cost of production of rare earth elements. In terms of the current industry interest in Commerce Resources for both of our commodities, we are receiving, I would say, increased interest in both the rare earth elements and the fluorspar. I had a very pleasant call with Tokyo last night, 6 p.m. here in Vancouver time, 10 a.m. Thursday in Tokyo, with one of the companies that Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, just invested into, and they did bring that up. And I said, well, maybe you can get a deal at Dairy Queen now, or Dairy Queen will open up in Tokyo. But at any rate, this trading company has expressed an interest in our both commodities, but with a primary interest in the fluorspar. So I do expect an NDA from them shortly, and we'll see where that happens to go. In terms of another company that I had a very long and substantive phone call with, BASF, I spoke to their new global procurement manager recently. And I have to say that in general, the German companies seem to be some of the most anxious in terms of reducing or eliminating their dependency on China. And I'm talking ThyssenKrupp, Siemens, some companies I can't talk about because they're under NDA. But Euler Remy, Tribacher, of course, is Austrian. But these companies are very concerned about future supply. And of course, as you know, in general, the European Union is ahead of the game in terms of North America, in terms of transitioning over to electric vehicles. So at this point in time, I would like to say that I had a very good phone call yesterday with Nick Hazen, and we are seeing significant improvements on the impurity suppression of our fluorspar product that we are looking then to deliver to industry as requested. In terms of that, I think I'm probably near the end of my time, aren't I, Dave Hodge?
Yeah, I would suggest you are.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And at this time, if I can, I would like to introduce my very trusted associate, Justin Schrun, Herr Schrun, just behind the Supreme Commander there. And certainly Justin has been doing an excellent job over the last month when yours truly has been not as much in the office. And certainly Justin and I would be happy to talk to you and update you in more detail at any time. Thank you, Dave.